Hello, my fellow people. If you've watched my last video, you would realize that there is some rather glaring errors in my code. Well, not really, but there is just a few. So, shall we get started? So, what shall we do first? Let's look at the files. Now, on the web page itself, it's pretty simple. Makes sense. I kind of need it to be. And you have input a file, write a note, all the fun stuff. So, shall we see what's the back of this? Wow! This is my code for the front page, the home page, the best page. If you can tell, it's pretty standard, nothing much to see. You look at the file notice total, input a file, write a note. It's all written out here. It's actually just a bunch of forms. It's the CSS that makes it look nice. So, yeah, not much to see here. You have the home, real, page reference. This is URL 4. It's pretty fun. I'll show you the app later. But now, this is the header, which is this, if you're wondering. And these honestly isn't that secure. You should be using URL 4 for this, but I'll do it another time. For now, let's continue looking through the code. You have your href because we want a navigation page, so let's have a href. We will have our a tags. If you've seen my explaining this on book and paper, you realize why these stuff is so important, and of course h1s and all that stuff. And yeah, the files are pretty simple. This is for my other stuff, and methods, action, class, our labels, the input type. Actually, you know what? Let me minimize this real quick, and you guys can have a look at the code and at my code at the same time. That is terrible. Let me redo this. This, like this. Still terrible. It's fine. Like this. Yeah, there you go. Peak. Anyways, yeah, you see this method, this form is this one, obviously. The label is the label. The form is formatted this way because you have to have your form out. You have your labels, your inputs, and of course, well, more inputs. And for this funny little thing, not really known by quite a few people, but it's rather important. It's just type file. It really is just type file. It's not that difficult. Input is just text, and of course, a submit button. How fun! Now, the next part, write a note. It's also pretty simple. You look at this. The form method post, action is slash form 2, class main form. I'll show you all this later. For now, let's look at this. We have a title, category. Pull out my stuff, please. Category, the input text, the type is text, of course. All these are text because it'll be easier to sort into our database. Yes, did you forget about the database? I hope not, because if you do, there will be consequences. But for now, let's look at this. Why is there space here? Well, doesn't matter to me. Anyways, yeah, you have your text area. I found that 30 rows and 100 columns is the best way to look at this. Enter a note, and of course, your input. Honestly, this is just very basic form stuff. It should honestly be self-explanatory. I mean, if you want to look at the CSS, I can definitely show you. I mean, yeah, let me just flash the CSS real quick. Flash me die CSS, please. CSS, please. There it is. Look at this. It is so complicated. I want to die. So yeah, have fun with that. Not with that. Don't look at my CSS. It's agony. It can go get self killed. Anyways, so shall we look at the main app? Yeah. Okay, obviously this site isn't running on local servers because I have deployed it, but for now you can look at my background stuff. So shall we explain a few stuff? You realize my homepage has no backend logic. There's none. There's literally none. You can go and do whatever stuff you want to my homepage to make it a little bit more fun. Maybe add JavaScript or something, or have a little fun. But For now, it is absolutely nothing because I don't need it. Yeah. Well, you may raise the question, why not a login page? Really? I honestly don't want a login page. This is a very personal note. I don't think you have this access on the internet because you will only be using this for yourself. But if there is going to be a, because of course I understand the fact of a login page because you guys need to uh you know move from between or even isolate your own content. But too bad. I mean, I will code a login page next time. I could code a login page now, but it's gonna take me an hour, and I'd rather not do that. So let's not code the login page right now. I mean, I know what to do with the login page. Is again another form which is not fun. And then if I need to, I can do some encryption like base64 or hexing it. But otherwise, yeah, it's fine. Login page is actually pretty simple. I also need to make sure that I don't get screwed over by my SQL. But otherwise, it is perfectly fine. Okay, okay. I need to get to my stuff, my file, my form one, form two. Now, these forms will direct it to separate routes in the app, and yeah, it's rather simple. The name is very simple. The file is new because we've never learned this, and I did look it up online because again, never learned this. So I found out what this is, and also the file type. This is for filtering later, and yeah, we will have our file save, which is to save it on a separate folder. It was in here somewhere. Wait a second. Here it is. Yeah, look, my uploads folder. It's empty right now because there's nothing on there. Quite literally, this is my local servers. If I go into my deploy server, you will find that there is stuff there because there's stuff here. Right. Yes. So for now, it'll be empty, but only for now. So yeah, file save, file path. This one is to save into my database so it's easier to deal with. And of course, we have date time. Okay, there was a little bit of foresight for my SQL. Cause realistically, I am very, very aware of SQL injection, but also, why would you use SQL injection in this context? What are you accessing? Your own data? Like you have access to it. I don't have a login page because this isn't supposed to be for like multiple people at the same time. It's supposed to be one person and one person app. So SQL injection really doesn't infect me. I mean, of course, it'll be great to parameterize all my code, but there really isn't any point. So I wrote a general execute SQL thing, and yeah, it's a fun thing, of course. And I even define like write or read, so I don't have to deal with the commit. I will always close after everything. And of course, we have return data if I need to read it. But because SQL injection honestly doesn't affect my code too much, because it's a one person thing, there's no use for it. So, yeah, no use for it. Therefore, I didn't parameterize my code. I mean, yes, it's good practice. Whoever out there who's listening to this, please parameterize your code. Don't do like me. I'm just bad at coding. But the only reason why I didn't parameterize my code is because I don't need to. But please, almost under every circumstance, you need to parameterize your SQL. It's just for me at the moment, not really. Yeah, so don't get yourself screwed over, please. Anyways, yes, that's my SQL. How fun, isn't it? Anyways, yeah. So that's mostly my SQL, and you of course sort through all this, and yeah, if you want, I can even show you my DB browser stuff. Okay, no, not now. Let's open my database. Wow, you guys are seeing a lot of things right now. Anyways, here it is. Look at that. I have two. This one is always there. Anyways, look, our files, our notes, it has always five stuff, five fields, and you have your ID, your primary key, your title, category, date, and your file path, which is very important because that is very important because it is unbelievably important. Anyways, yeah, the file path actually differs if you realize. Okay, I'll describe how the code looks, but I can't really deploy it right now because I don't feel like it. So when you write a note, your note actually receives a unique number at the end of it to, of course, differentiate the note, and they pop it right here. Yay! And your uploads, of course, here in this folder, and they are actually uploads. If you upload an MP4, it will be MP4 in this folder. If you upload a PNG, it will PNG in this folder. If you even, I don't know why would you, but if you upload exe, it will be exe in that folder, which is fun. But yeah, so they are very separate because I have two different systems handling them, especially my filter file stuff, my filtering stuff. But yeah, for now it is rather simple. So all my code goes in, and then my stuff will enter into this category. So because it's not shown here because this is not on local servers. If you see here, Dennis, the file ID will be obviously one. Name will be Dennis. Type, if I remember correctly, this is PNG. Yeah, I can just check. Yeah, it's PNG. Therefore, I will store the PNG, well, .png as type. Actually, no, I'll just store PNG. And then the date, I just use datetime module, .now, and then, string it. And then file path is the legit file path in string because I can't, input a file path that is not, possible. So, yeah, that's about it. Um, the notes one is actually basically the same. Is you actually see my new ID stuff, which is more painful. But otherwise, yeah. I kind of brute force the new ID stuff because the ID is really painful to deal with, especially if this is running on a deployed server. So I need to find a dynamic way to apply new ID. So new ID actually helps differentiate the nodes. I need to make sure the new ID is always yeah, the new ID is always different, and my stuff is stored properly. So isn't that crazy? So yeah, again, don't do this. Parameterize your stuff. It's just in my context, I don't really need it. So, in your context, it almost certainly needs to. Cause like, okay, if I have to say truly, if I had a login page, I would definitely need to parameterize myself. But I don't have a login page, so I don't need to parameterize myself. But you need to. You really need to just parameterize just in case, please. I cannot reiterate this like even more so. It's just my code doesn't need it, but you should just still do it. Okay, don't follow me. I'm a bad influence. Anyways, yeah. File.writes now date time file path. It's about the same thing. Yeah. It's just the stuff have changed mostly. So yeah. These are all pretty self-explanatory. Again, you have the import request, and then you input this in. So yeah, isn't that fun? So yeah, that's mostly the file inputs and my first home page. Of course, I could live code it for you right now, but I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I could probably live code the parameterized SQL at the moment. It's not too difficult. I can just, you know, be better. Like cause right now my code works like this, right? So if I have to, if I have to parameterize this, if you guys, because I cannot reiterate this enough, so I will of course define parameters, and then I will put this in the tuple because that is the best way to deal with it, best way to deal with this, and then I will do my stuff. Yes. So all this would actually have to be in not commas, but yeah, question marks because that is your default. Sorry, I am a slow typer, so bear with me here. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do, 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 do. So yeah, you have your again parameters, and from here it will actually be better to just name my parameters here. What else I have here? Type, date. Well, actually it's now because shit. Well, you know what I mean. You know what? Fine. I'll just put date. You guys know what's happening. It's just that I I forgot to. Oh, anyways, here it is. Um, yeah, this thing, a fun thing. Um, yeah, how fun, isn't it? Where is it? I lost my code. I lost it. There it is. So that whole thing. This is actually file type because type is reserved. And with that, my file path, and this will be the tuple. You will have to use a tuple. That's just how parameterize works. And once you have this, I will have to change up this, of course. My para, I'll just call it para. You guys know what it means. It's parameters. Yeah, I will have para, and then you have the SQL code. You have your parameter setup, and you will shove your parameters into the function. Of course, you don't have to do this. You can bring this outside. It's just that I define the own function because I don't want to write it over and 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 over again, and therefore I just roll the function. So yeah. If you're watching this and wondering how to parameterize your stuff, you can do this. Honestly, I would recommend this. Don't do it my way. It's just that I was lazy and it was late. Yeah, do this. Add in your parameters and then just pop it in here. And yeah, just pop it in there, and then it should actually fill everything out. I can't test the code right now because, but it should work. Trust me. If you can't, look it up. But this should work. So yeah, behave yourself. Yeah. So don't get yourself killed. And cool. This is just okay. Fine. Okay. Somehow in the end, I still live coded for you guys. But yeah. This is how you will do parameters. So yes. Uh, don't get yourself killed. I will showcase my filtering system or my display system. Yeah, my filtering or display systems next time. And goodbye, good luck. Don't get yourself killed. Bye bye.